Thank you. From the discussion, it's a very passionate discussion, I think. And what I take is that it's very challenging to have all these qualities in one person. And therefore, there must be things that you do to be who you are, or to even to attract quality researchers in your organizations. And this is the next discussion. Just briefly, how do you get these people to your organizations? It's a challenge to have all these, so that's the question. How do you attract the talent, all these talents to your organization? Do you have the capacity in the country? Do you link with universities? Do you go abroad? How do you advertise? You know, we just need to learn from you. How does it happen to have all these people? Thank you.
I think with this question, most of the think tanks are grappling here, and this was the kind of reason we have been here, to learn from each other that how we are able to attract and retain the people in the organization, you know. Particularly in the context, you know, where the environment is very competitive. And you have all sort of, you know, our age cohort of think tanks which are at the initial stage of their development. Then there are think tanks which are well established. So for these two sets of think tanks, attracting researchers is different zone. One of the, I think, what happens, you know, that if you are able to give the researchers the assurance, long-term assurance, particularly in the organization, I think that's one of the important things which will attract to them. Second thing that, you know, the pay-and packages, you have to give them the market. Even in our context, we have to give them above the market packages also. Because where, you know, you are not placed, you are in a very initial stages of development, you have to attract them and you have to pay more salaries. Where from you get them? Because there is a lot of competitive environment, there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of colleges. So the preference for coming to our such kind of think tanks is least, where you are having all the sort of qualities which you are looking in the think tank, multitasking, overstaying, all skills, better writing. I think it's a great difficulty, you know, which we face. What we learn, you know, that, you know, if you give them the assurances, if you train them, and if you give them due credit in their publications, and at the same time you give them flexibility in their own development also, because, you know, we have got a lot of organizational constraints. So if you are, I am allowing my researchers to say that 25% of your time you should do your research for own your development. But it has to be maybe that, you know, somewhere in abroad fitting to my area. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of confidence. So that, I think, it has to be there, and we have to have, you know, ensure the higher pay packages. You know, that's what most of the think tanks are unable to do at present. You know, I'll just stop it here. Then. What I am saying that, you know, they are not available. What we are saying, there's a great difficulty because there are a lot of competitors, and university system is such that, you know, it is not producing the researcher which is suitable to you. It has to be developed, and maybe that, you know, it is coming. I am talking in particularly in terms of India. You know, we have got a huge research university system.
Not come to you, you will have to go to them. So I think organizing seminars for the, for example, the senior students, and you know, giving them the sharing with them the research that you are doing and sort of building up their interest. I think that we have found, for example, at our center to be important if it is the young researcher, because they have various career opportunities before them. So you will have to go to them and then attract the best students, and so that is one way of, you know, giving seminars. And the second is another opportunity is the diaspora. In our countries, many of the students after their college, they go to the Western universities. So if you have an internship program, that when they come for the summer vacation, you have a 2-3 months in internship program for them. That also we have found. Once they finish, then they know that they have worked here and they tend to come back. That is two. The third is the visiting fellowship program. We are not, you cannot really attract good researchers as a career opportunity in the think tank. Not all of them will come as permanent staff. So if you have a visiting fellowship type of program, for example, someone is a good researcher working in a university, but the university allows 4 or 5 years of leave, extraordinary leave without pay. So you can also bring them for 2 or 3 years to work on a certain project. So I think that is also another way. Thank you.
Okay. For us, the principal thing that we do is to transmit to the research the passion about the issue, that we can change, that we can make a change. For us, is the more important in the first time. Secondly, we work. So how I do to make meetings with all team and to transmit the person that they can make a change, he can or her can make a change. Yes. Yes, in the organization. Oh, it's the same form. We go to the universities, we talk with the people in seminars, in, I don't know, or when we are searching a people, we transmit that. Also, the other kind is to make incentives to make part of the, for example, construct the research agenda inside of the institution.
Thank you. For our case, the one thing we do is we headhunt. Yes, headhunt, and then with that, once they come in, then you provide support to make sure that they don't do a lot of admin work, but they're able to focus on the things that you want them to produce the best addition for your organization.
Yep. In terms of attracting young, talented researchers, one of the things that we try to showcase is that, say for instance, CBGA in India, that this organization would offer them a lot of responsibility and work which is going to be challenging. Because in terms of attracting people based on job security or pay packages, we can't compete with the universities yet. And now in India, there are also private universities coming up which are paying much higher amounts than even the government universities. So we are, I mean, as a small organization, we are not yet able to match those salaries or that kind of a job tenure. But what we offer them is a lot of responsibility, which implies a lot of growth opportunity for the researchers. And also we present the work in a manner that it's really going to challenge them. So that does attract some of the talented people.
I think we have to make a distinction between attracting young researchers and attracting those who will be heading sectors or areas of research. In any way, at IEP, we are about to be 50 years old. So the way to attract researchers is via research assistantships. Actually, I joined IEP like more than 25 years ago in that way. And so there's a path in which the researcher can grow and be mentored, and you expect the researcher to go out and do a master's or the PhD and come back to the institution. And that is one thing. And on the other, I just want to share with you, we at IEP don't work on gender issues. We don't. We have a whole set of issues and disciplines to work. But the majority of researchers are women. And actually, in the executive board, women and head of areas are women.
I agree with my other colleagues who say that it's really important to have good pay packages and assurances of long-term security. I think one of the things that, in order to attract younger scholars, is also give them the ability to move on. Because there's nothing worse than I've seen in many institutions than people who've been stuck there for many, many years, and then they don't do particularly good work. It seems to me that especially for younger organizations, it's important because they can't offer the kinds of pay packages and other things other old institutions can, that they have an environment that people recognize gives them the skills to move on, because that's what everyone does, and there's no harm in actually saying that this equips you with these skills. If you want to go into some other area, this is what you can end up doing, rather than just stay on here forever and ever and ever and not do anything productive.
From the discussion, it comes out that the organizational environment is also part of attracting researchers before they come. So once the organization has A, B, C, D, researchers will like it and come. But also you can put other strategies to bring up those who haven't.
I think, what we have to see also that, what is the future down the lane, and what IIDS is doing, that it is going to those departments which are in a very university departments, which are working, for example, on the issues of social exclusion and discrimination. We are going to those departments, building the capacity of teachers and students there. And that way we are making a collaborative effort with the departments to get the senior person, which we would not be able to attract him by any cost because the salaries are so high. So, but the student who is reading there, we are definitely going to attract him after 5 years. So that is a kind of sustainability of the pool of staff, human resource we are trying to build on that way. And then other thing is that, we have a visiting faculty program and mentoring of that, So you get the senior researchers from across the board and then do a strong mentoring and bring out as a publication, as a joint publication. So that is a great encouragement for a person who is coming to the institution and new persons with the good quality of publication. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Antonia. Actually, research is a very special, research profession is a very special profession. And there is one quality which I actually would wish for us to learn. How do you attract, which is not very easy to actually identify, passion. Researcher without passion actually will not, for think tanks. So how do you, because passion is not in the papers, you cannot look at their credentials to get passion, to know how passionate. And how do you, if you advertise and people apply, the best thing you can look at is the certificates, even during the interview, it's not easy. And I would like to learn how do people attract passionate researchers. Let me give a very brief example of what we are doing actually. And this is because actually we don't have and STI policy research, we don't have expertise locally. What we are doing actually, we are actually making them, by attracting young researchers, actually very young, those who have not even worked anywhere. From the first degree, they are doing their masters directly. They have not been employed anywhere else. So what we do at the end of their coursework, we go there, we make a presentation about our areas for research, and we ask those who are interested should focus their dissertations. We help them to fund the dissertation. And what we do actually, we fund about 4 or 3 per year, depending on the amount of money we have. So in the process of doing their dissertation, because we are actually even collaborating with their supervisors at the university, we are kind of even supervisors. We use them as the research assistants in their research. In the process, it takes about 1 year, from 6 months to 1 year. Then we get to know who is passionate about research, who is a good researcher. And I tell you, those who are best sometimes are not the ones with best proposals in the first place. So it's this, I would like for us to just, share experience, especially the older think tanks. How do you get passionate researchers? Because this is an indispensable quality for researcher.
Thank you very much. I think my organization is 13 years old, and I have been there 12 years of that. So I've seen it. From the beginning, when you are young, you need to be able to pay a good package. If you are actually not paying above university, then you have a big problem, because that is the source of the good researchers. So I think it's good. If you are, I think tank has to decide whether you are going to survive. There are some basic things that you must have. So I think at the beginning, it's a package that's slightly better than a university, so that you have a bit of an advantage. Of course, that also comes the idea of, the work you are doing. People also want to be involved in work that is having impact and that's creating a difference. So that helps. With the time, if you build, with the time, what is going to help you is reputation. If you people know the organization is doing good research and all that, there are people who come purely because of the name, even if the pay now is a bit less. But they may not stay long, because when reputation is there, then you attract the competitors, the World Banks. If you are countries like Nairobi, where you have UN bodies, you have World Bank headquarters, we have global think tanks that are setting office in Nairobi, then the competition gets very, very stiff. And there are some who come and work for a few years, basically to get known, publish a few papers, and then they, as a step to get to a better paying job. So we are dealing with a very interesting situation of demand and supply. The demand for analysts, good analysts with passion, is higher than the supply. And so in that kind of environment, I think tanks we are threatened, because we cannot compete with World Bank, IMF, ADB, IDRC and others. So we have to think global, and I think now that we are meeting here, think tanks from 3 continents. This is not a small meeting. And I was hoping one of the key things we should come up with is a declaration to say the TTI will see how it can, have a meeting with the multilateral bodies, the giants, to have a commitment for them to invest in sorting out the supply situation, so that we create a supply of good analysts, and then the competition can be a bit manageable. Otherwise, we'll be really chasing, and with the time, we are going to be going down and down, because you train somebody, when they are very good, they take off. So that's one of it.
Thank you very much. So basically, a good package, reputation, brings researchers in, but how do you nurture them? How do you retain them? That will be the next, but I think somebody will want to finish. We are done, right? Thank you.